So again, let me say welcome back, back to our live feed here from the grounds of the Executive Mansion here in Liberia, West Africa. We are back to bring you the closing of a meeting held with His Excellency the President and partners. Started this morning here at the tea house of this Executive Mansion grounds, and we are interested to talk to the actors in the meeting as to the discussion held with the President, specifically highlighting the forestry sector of the country. So what we're about to see happen right now is the photo section. So I'm just walking a little bit in this beautiful garden of the Executive Mansion. The President, including the EU representatives, the UN representatives, the team from the Forestry Development Authority, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Agriculture, and other. And of course, they've just ended the meeting. And so we will attempt to talk to some of the partners, including the government representatives, to the meeting to find out how well did it go in highlighting Liberia forestry sector, a very key sector. The forests of our country, the natural resources, the forest reserve, and what have you, seem to be a very serious concern. And to make sure that a country like ours can benefit from the natural resources of our country is to again strike the cause around the forestry sector. Like we said, the President key interest is making sure that the various sector of our country gets some boom in terms of trying to revamp those sectors and bringing partners to the table to go about talking about the details of the meeting. They are just about to conclude with a photo section, so that is why you see the queue just about being arranged there. The U.S. ambassador, the EU, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, and others, they're all right here. And it's going to be very interesting, since we could not bring you the entire talking from the inside, because it was held beyond closed door, close to camera, that is. But we will have some time to talk to one or two of them, just to bring us up to speed as to how their interaction with the President went. So if you just joining here, we're coming to you from the grounds of the Executive Mansion here in Liberia. His Excellency Dr. Weah and others, including board members of the Forestry Development Authority. They've been holding that meeting that has just ended here at this point. So we will again try to position our camera in a way that we will talk to the Minister of Finance, who of course was one of the lead here. And of course you see His Excellency the President somewhere right on. Trying to just move this camera a little bit, as you will see it here. There will be pockets of discussion taking place, and you see the Minister of Finance right here, and of course His Excellency is in the chat right on there. This is the new head of the BDI. They are all right here. The Minister of Agriculture, they are all right on, holding pockets of little discussions as they wrap up their meeting here. It's been good coming in to discuss some of the key issues around the forestry era of our country. Again, it's always a wonderful time in search of introduction. Professor Wilson Tappet is also here and get it on to the entire thing. Here I'm trying to see if we'll catch a water to what the president is staying in the bike right there, and you will see a little bit of conversation around as the president move on. I'm trying to see if I can stick around here to talk to the Minister of Finance, Minister Samuel Weah, who's been in the meeting. And so while we do this, just trying to hook up the Minister of Finance on right here. Minister of Finance, you're on camera with us on the Executive Mansion page. I'm trying to talk to you quickly. You just attended a very crucial meeting with the President, second in this tea house. This time we're talking about the forestry sector. How was the meeting?
I think it was a very productive meeting. Similar to the meeting that was held here several months ago on the energy sector, particularly the management of LEC. The goal is to improve governance in the forestry sector. Okay. This is one of the most important sectors in the country. Significant potential for revenue, significant support from development partners. But the forest sector right now is more important for climate change purposes. The government is taking a big jump on climate finance. So all of these cannot happen if governance is not optimal in the sector. And so the president was concerned that he wanted to show his leadership, working with partners and the board of FDA, the management of FDA, so that we holistically address many of the issues with the goal of improving forestry governance. And I think it was all of that was achieved today.
Listening to the output of the meeting and the significant role the sector plays, how did the partners see it?
Well, no, I think the partners agreed that it has to be a holistic solution. There is not one size fits all. The approach to look at putting up small fires here and there is not sustainable. I think we all need a holistic review of governance, of existing regulations, of enforcement mechanisms. The idea is that we want to preserve our forests so that they provide revenue for us, but they provide a sustainable future for Liberia, for the rest of Africa. The EU ambassador said that Liberia's forests are the lungs of Africa and the world, and we see our forests of that. We want our forests to also provide means of support for our ordinary citizens who are living in what I call forest communities. I mean, these people who live deep in the recesses of the forest and forest communities deserve support from the government, deserve support from development partners. We also want to rein in illegal commercial logging. All of these issues were on the table. At the end of the day, I think this is, again, one of the most productive meetings I've seen the president chair, and I always love it when he organizes these meetings.
So where do we go from here?
We go from here with a clear roadmap on looking at strengthened management and board oversight, strengthened rule enforcement, the regulatory oversight of the sector, looking at where things have gone wrong to instill the necessary actions. If there are dismissals, if there are removals, if there are forced resignations, whatever it is. I mean, so the punitive measures that will be done. So we want to end the culture of impunity in rule enforcement. We want to look at foreign investigations, and it was revealed that there are significant loopholes as well in places. So holistically, we will plug those loopholes in the system. We will overall improve the system. I think that roadmap is going to be developed by FDA, working with the technical team that is issuing from this meeting.
Thank you very much, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, and of course Samuel Weah speaking to us here on the grounds of the Executive Mansion. He's moving along with Mr. Harrison Conway, and we are still on our microphone. I just want to talk to the EU representative here. Honorable Ambassador, how are you? I just want to take a word or two from you. You just attended a very serious meeting with the President highlighting the forestry sector. How was it for you?
It was a very good meeting
Okay.
because it showed that His Excellency knows about the sector, is interested about the sector of forestry, which is an essential sector for Liberia. Liberia hosts a chunk of the Upper Guinean rainforest, which is an asset not only for Liberia but for Africa and for the world. So Liberia is the custodian of this forest and must do everything it can to ensure that this forest is sustainable and that it is managed in a sustainable way, that it is exploited in a sustainable way. The issue is also about providing jobs, about providing export revenue for the country. All the systems have been put in place to ensure the sustainable management of the forest and of the wood sector, with the support of the European Union, of the British government, of the Norwegian government. It's an issue of implementation of these systems, and we are working very hard at that with the board of FDA, with the management of FDA, with the various ministries involved. And we hope that this meeting will accelerate a proper implementation of the Liberian laws governing the forestry sector. We are, as always, optimistic because there is strong political will, I think, and where there's a will, there's a way.
So, as the head of a body here in Liberia, it's not just about the support you give to the sector, but how vibrant in terms of climate change, the global economy, and the EU own stand on some of those issues, how Liberia as a country can make meaningful use of the forest.
Well, President Weah is a personality that has taken very strong statements on the international scene in many occasions at the United Nations, at the COP meeting in Glasgow. Liberia, through the nature assets it has, is both threatened by climate change, but also has a kind of shock absorbers that will help it navigate its way through that climate change. And I think that the conjugation of this political will and the situation in the country bodes well for the future of Liberia in a climate change world, provided that all of us work together. One issue that the President insisted a lot during our meeting is that issue of partnership. This is what governs, I think, all of us. Partnership works very well in the good times, and on issues that are more tricky, more difficult, where there are more challenges, like, for instance, the forestry sector. That's why we were here today. I think our partnership has proven its validity and its strength.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for sharing your thought with us. I'm very sure that we can still go on talking, but thank you
With pleasure.
again for sharing your time with us, folks. That's how we just want to wrap up here. There are side conversation ongoing. The Minister of Finance is still in camera, but he's talking to the team and other board members, including the head of the LBDI, Mr. Harrison Conway, is the chair of the board of directors of the Forestry Development Authority, and the president has retired to his office on the 4th floor of the executive mansion. Thanks to all of you for following us here on another day of meeting on the grounds of the executive mansion with His Excellency the President, meeting members of the international community partners to the forestry sector, specifically discussing how Liberia as a country can make use of her forest, and of course getting involved with development in that sector. The partners were here, the government were indeed represented, the president sat and chaired the meeting. Until another time, my name is Smith Tobit, wishing you a pleasant day, and thanks for viewing us here from the grounds of the executive mansion.